What they think is happening and what parents say is happening is not happening in our classrooms. Students are not always wearing their masks. Staff isn't always wearing their masks. Deep cleaning isn't happening.
Now at 5:30, pandemic policies versus reality. Gilbert schools voted late Monday night to return to a hybrid mix of on-campus and online learning, at least through the end of the month.
You know, now we're hearing from teachers who claim district safety strategies aren't always being followed. I talked with parents and teachers on both sides of this return to campus debate, and clearly people have some very passionate opinions. And while the district insists there are more than enough supplies to go around and that they are following best practices, some teachers say that's not what's really happening.
We've had students come to school waiting for their COVID test results, and then their parents get their test and then they pick them up and bring them home.
Lisa Alcock is a 7th grade math teacher at Desert Ridge Junior High in Gilbert. She says even when parents self-report, schools aren't always following through with exposure notifications like they promised.
I'm still waiting for the letter for my class for the student that tested positive before Christmas break, and I only know that because the mother emailed me and told me. I have yet to hear from my district.
She wrote this letter to her school board and superintendent, sharing her concerns, not because she wants campuses closed back down, because she wants the district to enforce the standards they put in place to keep everyone safe. She says lots of kids, even teachers, aren't always wearing masks, and some are giving blatantly bad advice.
We have had a wrestling coach tell one of the wrestlers, no, don't get tested because then you'll have to quarantine for 2 weeks and we need you.
She says each teacher's given 1 bottle of sanitizer and 1 rag that only gets picked up for cleaning on Fridays.
5 full days with 30 desks for 5 days with 5 classes. I feel if nothing else, I'm spreading it more than trying to discourage it.
The district says the sanitizer and rags are for spot cleaning and in addition to nightly classroom cleanings and deep cleanings every 2 to 3 days.
Our custodians do work hard every day. They're out there, but they're doing common areas. They can't hit all 60 classrooms in our campus every day, especially when we're short-staffed.
I am a pediatrician in the community as well as a mom.
Dr. Allison Wilcock has 3 kids in Gilbert schools, and why she doesn't want to see any schools cutting corners on safety standards, she says schools aren't the source of the spread we're seeing, and they are still the safest place for our kids to be.
When schools have closed, we've actually seen community numbers rise.
She's also seeing more cases of domestic violence and kids left unattended.
We're seeing skyrocketing rates of obesity, suicide attempts, and drug use. We're seeing a large uprise in the amount of teen pregnancy that we're seeing, anxiety and depression.
She says we have to work together to keep the numbers down.
We're raising a generation of kids that are getting used to hanging out and are going to live in our basements.
So kids can return to school full time.
Public school success is imperative for our community success.
With Arizona ranking the worst in the world for COVID cases for the 2nd time in this pandemic, Lisa's not only worried about her elderly parents who have pre-existing conditions, she's concerned districts aren't being honest about the reality on their campuses and holding everyone accountable.
We want consistency for our students, and we want safeguards in place that are actual practices and not just written strategies.
More reality. Gilbert schools confirm they have a dozen bus drivers out right now because of COVID. And as for that contact tracing problem, while the district cannot comment on specific cases, they say it is their policy to email everyone in the classroom and then call anyone who had extended exposure so they can quarantine. And yes, that's relying on parents to self-report, though the district says they double-check positive cases with the county and say they have so far been able to keep a pretty good track.